Hello and welcome back to Galgorm Hall for this April 2018 update. In this month's video I am talking about the forming of the hills on the branch line side of the layout. We discussed some of the track painting that has been going on since I posted it in last month's update. There's a shout out for another YouTuber, and there's a quick discussion about couplings. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Please comment, like and subscribe if you wish to, and chat soon. About a year ago, whenever I was still finalising ideas for the track plan, I turned my attentions to building this little diorama. I did it for a few reasons. One was I wanted to look at water features because I was hoping to incorporate that into the layout. Another was just to get some use of using static grass and the sort of pieces of equipment that is required to produce a decent effect with static grass. But probably the prime reason for doing it was to create the embankments and the slopes of the fields. I knew that the layout was going to demand a fair amount of countryside scenics, which would incorporate hills and the embankments for the railway tracks. So it was something that I wanted to spend a little bit of time working out how I could go about doing that. Now, there's any number of reasons or ways of producing hills out there. You can use polystyrene, you can use the insulating foam. I've tried polystyrene in the past. It's an incredibly messy thing to use unless you're using one of those Gauge Master type cutting utensils to help you slice through it. So what I did for the diorama was the use of card, newspaper and the plaster bandages. I have been working on the terrain on the layout, and I want to take you over to that and show you what I've been up to and that first stage in the building up of the terrain process. Okay, so first off, apologies for the poor lighting in this area of the layout. I'm waiting on a strip lighting coming to help cast an awful lot more light into this area, and hopefully I should have that done in the next week or so. It's been difficult enough at times trying to work at doing different sections here with the poor lighting. I've been using the light and the torch, I've been using angle poise lamps. I've even got one just stuck up there at the minute just to help us see what's going on here tonight. But anyway, as you can see, most of this month's work has been involved in getting the structure developed for the hills, and to do that I have been using cardboard, free cardboard. It's all IKEA furniture flat pack card that would have been thrown out otherwise, but it's absolutely perfect for this. So in that corner has pretty much been completed, and most of the work down this end has too. There's just a couple of wee plugs have to be put in the main line there, particularly on this side here just against the retaining wall, but right the way down to where the branch line sweeps in underneath the main line has all been completed. So what I will do is maybe start down at this end of the layout and just have a little bit of a closer look at what's been going on and my thoughts. So the branch line sweeps in underneath the train track, and what I wanted here was a nice steep embankment that climbs up, and this will happen not so much in the right hand side, but certainly it'll be fairly steep in the right hand side climbing back up to the main line, and I just wanted that opportunity to have a train running through a cutting basically. Also actually I have been working on the painting of the rail sides. I took on board all the advice that came back to me after the last video, and I had decided that I would use the acrylic cinnamon brown, I think was the name, wasn't that right? For the rail sides, and I'm really happy with them. I really think that they've come up well. Now I'm just using an old paintbrush to apply, well, not an old paintbrush, a small paintbrush to apply the paint to the sides, but I think the difference is just absolutely incredible. And I think once the ballasting goes down as well, they'll look great. We'll do a wee bit of weathering along the ballasting as well, sort of some of the rust effect leaching onto the ballast, but I think the colour's just absolutely perfect, so I'm really pleased with that. It's a laborious job. I spent probably a week just painting the rail sides on this section of track alone. You know what, that's 1, 2, 3, 8 sides of rails all the way down to the corner have all been done, but do you know what, it's worth it. It really is worth it in the end. So anyway, back to the hills. As you can see, they're all made from the card, as I've said already. The idea is that each cell will have newspaper stuffed into it, and once that's compacted down, the plaster bandage will be placed on top, and that will, the newspaper will just help support that plaster bandage while it dries. I used it before in that little diorama that I've showed you at the beginning of this video. I was happy with the technique. It's a simple, it's a cheap, it's an effective technique, so why change things? Okay, what else then? Bridges. All the bridges are going to have to be built before I can start doing the plaster bandage. I want to put the bridges in and work the plaster bandage around it because I think it'll just bed it all in better, whereas if I do it afterwards, there's always sort of nitty picky things that have to be fixed, whereas this way round I can just get it in place, work the bandage around it, work the scatter and the flock and all that in around it, and to me it's a more sensible way of doing it. Obviously everybody has their own ways, but it's the way that I've done it on that wee diorama, and it worked quite well. So anyway, on this section here we're going to use the Pico Pleat girder bridge. This came off the old layout. I wanted to reuse it somewhere, and I think this will just be the ideal place. It's too long, it's too much of an angle on the track to be able to just put a standard bridge into here or a tunnel, so I think the Pleat girder will just sort of give it a bit of added variety in comparison to the other two more standard bridges that will be down at the other end of the layout. Moving further down, I have decided on what I will be using for the station master's house. Popped down to my local model shop a couple of weeks ago, had a look to see what he had, and what I came back with was this here. So it's the Will's Craftsman series, and this one here is the Victorian semi-detached houses, CK11. Now if you've built these kits before, they're not that enjoyable, to be honest, but they do make an impeccable kit. And because I was thinking as well, because I've used the Craftsman series before to produce the station that will be in this area, I thought this would just be a perfect sort of accompaniment to that. So I don't know if I'm really looking forward to building it, but I mean it's a lovely looking kit, plenty of detail in it, and once it gets done and put into place, I think it'll look absolutely brilliant in this wee area. So the white sheet of paper marks the footprint that kit gives, and I mean I think it just sits in there perfectly. As you can see with the slopes behind, what I'm trying to do is to have a gradual slope coming down to the back of the house, and perhaps I'll know better once I get the bandaging and all put into place, is that there'll be a slightly sloping up a slight gradient to the back gardens to these houses before they sort of reach that embankment. So I think that'll just make a nice little added touch. Further on down, let's see, there's nothing else that's happened really here. Oh, the next thing is the roadway. So one of the other things I wanted to do, and this is the only area that I can really actually get it into the layout, is to have a level crossing. And the railway station needed an access point anyway, so the bridge beneath, with the road running through and a level crossing coming out the other side. Now, as it stands at the minute, I have just used some 2mm mount board to produce that road. It's been glued onto lollipop sticks, and those lollipop sticks have been placed at a different height all the way across it, up to a nice flat section in the centre, just about where the lorry is. Because that'll be the entrance point into the railway station. But if I take it down to baseboard level, it just gives a nice sort of undulating look to the roadway, rather than it just being a flat surface, you know, on the baseboard itself. So it's just something a wee bit extra I quite liked. So that's in. I'm still, well, I think I know what I'm going to do for the surface. In previous, in the previous layout, I used sandpaper. I think an 800 grit sandpaper, and whenever it's marked, it leaves a really nice surface. But what I need to do is experiment first with that to make sure that the problem I had before was that whenever the sandpaper was laid down, and I don't know, say a drop of glue or something landed on it, if you tried to wipe that away, it left a permanent mark on the paper. So I want to experiment this time round, do the same procedure as before, but then try and seal it in with a touch of matte varnish. Throw a couple of things onto it, see if they wipe off, and if they do, that'll be the approach that I'll take with this. So we'll come back to that in a future update. But anyway, into this corner. Now this corner proved to be quite challenging, so it did. The one beauty of using this card, because it hasn't cost anything, you can put a section in, you can look at it, you can think, do I like it, do I not like it, I don't know. If it doesn't work out, you can just rip it back out again and start again. And again, taking us down to sort of baseboard level, I think I've got a nice sort of height. I would have liked to have gone a little bit higher, but to be honest, the baseboard, the backboards are sort of preventing me from doing that. As you can see, another strip of card has been put in here, and this is just sort of to add a little bit of scenery into this corner. So there'll be a road running up that hill, and on the flat square piece of card at the back, I'm going to place probably another house. I had thought initially of, well, the Will's Craftsman series, they do a nice wee garage set, but I don't know if it's the right sort of thing for the top of this hill. It seems a wee bit obscure that it would be up on the top of that hill. The other option is a stone cottage, which is a nice kit, and I think I'm sort of favouring that one at the minute. But no decisions have been made. I may well scratch build something, I don't know, I just don't know yet. But anyway, back to the hills. Now there's one wee section here, this bridge here still has to be built as well, of course, and that'll be my first project of the 3 of the bridges to be done. What I have done at the minute, this is a wee lift out section. I'm going to try and put a bit better light on this. This is a lift out section because I need to get access beneath. But what I have done in this area here at the minute is paint the walls and all the rails and in around the rails black, so that whenever the tunnel mouth goes in at the front, there'll be a section of the wall which will have brickwork on it, but the rest of it then just disappears into darkness, so hopefully we don't have any light bleed coming into here. But I need to leave this section open because I need to be able to access in underneath to if I need to do sort of any alterations to the bridge building underneath here. Plus I also need the ballast in there. So until I get that bridge done, it's another reason why I need to get the bridges done before I do any of the bandage work, because once this the bandaging goes on here, well, there's no hope of getting anything of that done in there, but it'll just allow me a little bit of access while I work on that bridge, and then that can eventually be glued into place along with all the others, and then it'll become a nice rigid structure along with everything else. Mine for a while has been the issue of couplings on my stock. I've never been that happy with the couplings that come as standard on your coaches and any wagons and the locals that you buy. So I have been looking at the Cottage couplings, and that comes off the back of Sam at Hillside Central. A couple of weeks ago, Sam contacted me through my last update and said he had a couple of wee things that may have been of use to me on my own layout. He only lives about 25 miles down the road from me, so I went down to see Sam, and in the course of looking at his superb layout, if you haven't seen Hillside Central on YouTube, check it out. It's a 3-tiered double O gauge layout, and it's all modern freight that he runs, but it's amazing. I think it's 185 feet incline decline to climb between each of the three, to climb from the bottom tier right up into the top tier. It's brilliant. But one of the things that he showed me was the Cottage couplings. I never realised with the Cottage couplings that you could, by driving them slowly over a magnet, it would decouple for you. They're what was it? They're not electromagnetic. I can't remember the term that they use, but they're brilliant. So I've bought a couple of packets, just the number 18 and the number 19s. I'm going to have a play around with them, see what works on it, see what suits best with the stock that I have, and we'll report back on that maybe in the next update. But I'm coming up to about 15 minutes just on this bit of waffle here, so I think that's really enough. Just a quick word to say thank you to all my new subscribers that have come on since my last video. It's been incredible. I think I've had about 40 to 50 new subscribers just in the last month, so it's great. I really hope you liked like what you're seeing here, and as we get on in with a bit more scenic work, and that will well, hopefully it'll just get better and better. So no, thanks for the subscriptions, thank you for the support. Actually, one other thing, I think probably between now and next month I will have a little how-to video. I want to try and document one of the bridge builds that I'm doing here, so I'll try and get that up in the next couple of weeks as well as that goes along. So, but for the time being, thanks for watching, hope you've made it to the end, and chat soon. Bye.